Okay, this is a video where the guys are showing highlights from this debate between Zizek and Peterson. And it says Zizek's strategy to win over Jordan Peterson fans. Of course, his strategy is a complete failure. And I will show you why.
Graciously soliciting others to assert their particular identity. White multiculturalist liberals embody the lie of identity politics. Next point. Jacques Lacan wrote something paradoxical but deeply true, that even if what a jealous husband claims about his wife, that she sleeps with other men, is all true, his jealousy is nonetheless pathological. The pathological element is the husband's need for jealousy. It's the only way for him to sustain his identity. Along the same lines, one could say that even if most of the Nazi claims about...
Okay, right off the bat, Jordan Peterson fans are young men who have insecurity about their status. They want to up their status and get the girl. And no doubt marry the girl. And Zizek here is basically telling them you have no rights in your relationship whatsoever. If your girlfriend or wife is sleeping around on you, it's pathological for you to be jealous or get angry. And notice this is not gender neutral. Whoever he did talked about Jack Lacan or whatever you call his name. There's no mention of the wife getting jealous about her husband and that being pathological, right? So it's only for the guys. And they're victim blaming. Some guy finds his wife sleeping around. The only thing guys actually try to demand, is that the woman at least doesn't fool around with other men. Be there just for me. And he's saying that attitude is pathological. So that's the last thing any guy can expect in a relationship with a woman. Everything else has been stripped away over the decades by feminists and Tradcons. We're willing to do anything to keep women around. Everything. Now, he's taken away the last one. He is, I believe, a feminist, Zizek. So tell me, how does Zizek know when a guy is angry that some woman has been sleeping around on him, that whether it's pathological or not, or this Kant or whatever the fool was that he was talking about? Who are they to say? How do they know his feelings aren't legitimate? His feelings are legitimate, aren't they? So what do you think these Jordan Peterson fans, who Peterson is selling his snake oil, saying clean up your room means gain status? Though it's snake oil because Peterson can't just come out and say that. It's always got to be gain status, but she really loves you somehow. You know, you're really just improving yourself. That's all self-improvement is anyway. Insecurity over your status for guys. Okay. So Zizek is gaslighting the audience to even say that. He can't win them over because these guys have to be honest about what their Peterson fans want. Peterson fans are actually what most other guys are. Even if you don't agree with Peterson, even though you're not his fan, you don't like him, guys who say they don't like Peterson still want to up their status and get the girl. And again, Zizek says you don't have any rights for that. You're not allowed that. I even mentioned it in this comment, right? Zizek's strategy to win over Peterson. Tell them to gain status and, oh yeah, that's the other one. That's how Peterson does. The other one, even if a man's assertion about his wife sleeps around with other men is all true, his jealousy is still pathological. Yeah, married men shouldn't get upset over broken vows. This logic will really win over the Jordan Peterson fans. The reason I bring that up, I want to show some of these back and forths. I didn't read it like that. I don't think he's saying people shouldn't be angry about broken vows. He's saying that forming your identity around jealousy is bad, even if the jealousy is based in truth, which I think Peterson would agree with. So this guy, Liam Conlon, he agrees with Peterson, said, you should just take it like a little bitch, right? If your wife's sleeping around, but you accept it. So why would men get married? Since everything's been stripped away, why guys get married? All you guys who think about getting married, why would you do this? Considering it doesn't do anything for you. If anything, all it does is take away your rights that you do have, because she can make you pay child support and alimony. Now look at this guy again. It's just an example, mate. You could make the same argument for a woman if you want, but nobody does. It's bad to form an identity around an emotion, even if feeling of emotion is justified. So you're just admitting it. The husband should divorce his wife and move on instead of being jealous. Really divorce his wife and getting taken for half of everything he owns and go through a terrible divorce? And then what? Is this guy Liam, is he going to turn around and then say, oh, by the way, then don't get married again? Because marriage is about romance, supposedly at the first, right? Romance is tying your identity around an emotion. All these guys who say that are emotional people themselves. This guy, Liam, if he had a woman who was cheating on him, he would get pissed off. And what would you do? You think he would turn around and say, oh, by the way, I know my feelings are pathological. Because it's not just jealousy, it's also anger that someone has betrayed you. So, I mean, these guys, these Zizek fans are every bit as bent and as warped as Peterson fans. Zizek is a misandrist. This is what he is. When he said what he just told everyone was misandry. He was like, your feelings don't matter as a human being to the men. Your feelings as a human being don't matter. Is Zizek going to say, oh, by the way, don't get in relationships then? No, both these guys are on the same page. They don't want to say, guys, stop trying or get away. It's not good for you. And by the way, Zizek is a gaslighter too, because when this is the second or third time I've shown videos where he's showed his open feminism and misandry towards man. And everyone just, oh, he's just a human, bro. It's like people are calling out Sam Harris for his two-step where he'll put up what he really stands for, what he'd like to see, and then saying it's just a thought experiment. People call Sam Harris out. But Zizek here, he does the same thing. He does the same thing. He turns around and he'll let little things out like this saying, you guys, you're subhuman. You have no rights. You don't deserve any rights. Your feelings don't matter. You don't matter. But I'm just talking about philosophy. This is just an example. It's just an interesting thing that Peter Zizek goes on about. You see the issue I'm having? And again, these left people, these people on the left, they're all for this. They're all for this. And they back up the feminism, just like Zizek here. Peterson doesn't really fight against it. Because if he was, he would be telling his subs, look, you guys need to do something else with your lives other than chase the girl. But he himself is a woman chaser. He's fighting to keep his wife around. And he believes this. He likes the hierarchy. I mean, Zizek, is he going to say the hierarchy is bad? No, because then he would have to be nailed down. He'd have to be turned around and say, this is what I stand for. Zizek does stand for something. He stands for misandry. And everything else is nothing. That's why I say, that's why it's all just philosophy and him being interesting, right? He has nothing pertinent to say, at least that men should care about. Because the only thing he said that he really didn't make a stance on was that men don't deserve anything. He's just told you that. This is what he believes. So he's useless for any man listening. Okay? And this is the, two-step I'm talking about. He's talking about this guy, Knight of the World, talking with Zizek. He's speaking in the Laconian sense. Sorry, I'm going to screw that word up. When he says that, but the phallic penetrative position, not about man in the sense of sex. See, this is how they get away around it, right? It's all just, how is this any different from Peterson talking about lobsters and hierarchies? How is it any different? I'm going to try and get this one right. Like honey and knees. No, I'm not going to get right. See, we're only talking about phallic and penetrative position. We're not talking about sex and men. It's the ultimate in gaslighting from both these two. They're the same guys. They're the same guys. It's just that Peterson appeals to the right-wing guys and Zizek appeals to the left-wing guys. But all these guys are the same. They all want to up their status. They want to have the woman and bribe her into life, and they're all misandrous. They don't like other men. The dominance hierarchy for the right is a love of competing, and actually beyond competing, being hostile to other men. And feminists on the left is the same thing. It's hostility to other men. It's all about climbing up in the ladder and saying, okay, I'm the one good guy that gets the harem. Everyone else gets blue balls. And it'd be better yet if they didn't exist. That's what's going on here. Okay. One last thing. This is, I'm going to type something that didn't make it through on YouTube. Okay. Guys should be, I'm going to type this one. I've typed in and I'm going to send. Guys should be throwing away the defunct marriage institution since they don't have any rights in marriage. And also men should be protesting Me Too since it's a way to strip men of their right to have their day in court. I'm going to put that in. I put it in before and it disappeared. Okay, let's see if this goes in this time. Now, like I said, I put that in before and it disappeared on me. And this is another thing you guys should realize. We should be up in arms about YouTube and all these platforms silencing us. Everything women have said about men is projection on their part. They claim men want to silence them. They are the ones silencing us, and they always have, they always desired. Because they always desired it, they assume we're like them. We aren't. We do not want to silence women. Women want to silence us. Now that's important too. But anyway, this is all we need to do to talk about this video. Thank you.